Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Emerald City Hockey's Seattle Kraken podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Deep Dive, Emerald City Hockey Seattle Kraken podcast. And RJ, it is my favorite month of this podcast. Least favorite month of the hockey schedule, favorite month of the podcast. It is, of course, August, which is our way too early month, where we try to predict everything that will happen for the Seattle Kraken in the upcoming season right here in August. And we'll just save everybody the trouble of then having to watch the season.
Right. And hey, you know what? The last 2 years, that was actually really helpful, I think. If we can save you the trouble of watching the last 2 years of Kraken hockey. But we'll save you the trouble this year as well. We got a great lineup of content planned. I mean, we're starting with over-unders. I know you love this one because you're so much better at it than I am. We're going to predict stat leaders next week. I think after that, we're going to go predict every single game on the Kraken schedule. And then, of course, close it out with our Pacific Division preview. So it's going to be a great month of hockey content. I mean, I don't think anything's actually going to happen news-wise, but you know what? That's why we have way too early.
At some point this month, we might see a Riker Evans extension. That would be the thing.
That's what you got to look forward to.
No, instead they get to look forward to all the awesome way too early content that we have. And you know, RJ, it's never too early if you've been in an accident to reach out and talk to our wonderful sponsor, the law offices of Rico Tessendor. While we hope none of you ever need his services, the odds say that at some point someone out there will be involved in an accident, whether on the road, at work, or anywhere in between. And when you are, we hope you call Rico at 425-778-9800 or visit his website, ricotessendor.com, to schedule a free consultation. He's won millions of dollars for his clients and helped thousands of people in the greater Seattle area. And as a fellow member of the ECH community, we know he'll help you too. Now, RJ, before leaving Rico here, question. I do wonder, does personal injury extend to podcasting equipment? Because I know that is an issue you are having to deal with right now, as we can kind of see over your shoulder. You are in Sharks territory there.
Okay, I was wondering if that was going to be visible. I got to go like this on the podcast for the YouTube version here, but I do have to explain myself. Yes, there's a lot of shark stuff in this room. I wonder if I can.
There's a bucket over your head. Oh yeah,
yeah, there you go. For those watching on YouTube, yes, I am in San Jose. Shouldn't surprise anyone seeing that. Yeah, I'm in San Jose visiting the in-laws, so I'm having a good time. But and certainly a better time the last couple visits to San Jose for Kraken reasons, given I always seem to watch the Kraken just give a disastrous performance in San Jose when I go to cover those games. But yes, my microphone broke. So maybe I need to consult with Rico here if I can, figure this out, because I got to take this up with the manufacturer. It's out of warranty, Dylan.
Oh,
it's out of warranty by like a few months.
Oh,
so
that's the worst.
I don't know. Maybe there's something in the fine print Rico can help me find. I know that's not really his specialty, but see what he can do.
I might make an exception for us there. But definitely thank him for sponsoring the pod as always. Also, real quick before we start, we have our August Patreon schedule out, and RJ, fun stuff starts kicking off in just a couple days with that.
That's right. I mean, it starts on Thursday, the 7th. So Thursday, August 7th. And I'm really excited about this because it's our first time ever doing this. We're going to do a live rewatch of an old Kraken game. So it's kind of like our live commentaries that we do for Kraken games during the season, but we're going to go back and watch an old Kraken game together. And I figured, what better starting place than the Kraken's first ever game against Vegas? I know it wasn't a win. We all remember that. But, if you count Chandler Stevenson having the winning goal there on the fourth one, maybe kind of, it could be a win for the Kraken a little bit. But I think it'll be really cool to go back and just relive those memories, that old Kraken team, see our old buddies Ryan Donato, Morgan Geeky, Daniel Sprong. No, Sprong wasn't there yet.
Sprong wasn't there yet. No, I was going to say,
Donato,
didn't Barry Boulay play in that game, though? I think.
Oh, did he make it into that one? Or was it the second one? I don't know. See, we're going to find out. Mark Giordano, we'll say that. Yes, the old captain.
Captain Mark Giordano.
So we can all go enjoy that one together. That's going to be Thursday, 7 p.m., August 7th. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And then, of course, we have our usual offerings, the Prospect Chat, Dylan. That one's going to be on August 20th. care to plug that,
Promote
tease
that.
anything? I don't know how
I,
much you've secured or not for
Yes,
that.
yes. I haven't secured anything for it. The plan is to try to hopefully have an interview with Spokane Chiefs general manager Matt Bardsley, who I worked with back in Portland, back when he was assistant GM there, and I was scouting for them. If that can't happen before the prospect chat is due, we're going to be going over the Firebirds roster and what we think the starting lineup for the Firebirds is going to be for this upcoming season. So either way, fun stuff on the prospect chat, and we'll just fingers crossed on that interview.
Yeah, that's exciting either way. And yeah, Firebird's gonna have a very young team, a lot of Kraken prospects on there. And then my Armchair GM stream on August 28th. All these at 7 p.m. by the way, Pacific. And yeah, we're gonna look at the Kraken going into training camp and how the roster might shape out and the cap situation and maybe some areas they could add if things go right or wrong to start the season a little bit. Because they are in a position they could add and be able to kind of pounce on some opportunities. So we'll look at that as well on the 28th. And of course, we got the Red Glare podcast every single week usually on Fridays, covering all the league wide stuff. And we're gonna get creative with that one too, like we have been with these. So we'll find some interesting topics there.
Yeah, definitely. And then last thing to let everybody know about, later today, I believe, we will have a video drop over on the YouTube channel of our experience at the NHL draft from this past late June, we'll call it. Your brother did a great job of following us around, getting some good content, and saving it in the edit.
Yes, definitely. Oh man, I cannot believe he made something good out of the content we gave him. But credit to my brother Joe. He did an excellent job, and it was fun going back and looking at it. It's like 10, 11 minutes or so,
Mhm.
kind of going over our experience on day one of the NHL draft this year, including talking to Kraken first round pick Jake O'Brien. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It'll be on our YouTube channel. And of course, I'll try and clip some of it and put it on the socials as well. So look out for that.
Yep, definitely excited for everybody to be able to see that, because we had a great time. As slow as the draft ended up being, and as bad as the decentralized format was, we still had a good time, and it was a lot of fun to be able to put together that video. And I do think it's good. And whew, thankfully they did take Jake O'Brien, because rewatching the video, I forgot like how all in I was on him.
We
It
really were.
really
I mean,
worked
because
out.
we were trying to record stuff, of course, that we could use later for this video. And so when it came time for the Kraken to pick and be on the clock, of course, it took so long in between picks. We had a lot of time to talk, but we spent that entire time talking about Jake O'Brien.
Yes.
And, he seems like a player the Kraken really would pick. We didn't prepare anything for anybody else. We don't
No.
have another take of us talking about Murtka and how he's going to help the
Yeah.
blue line or anything like that. We went all out on Jake O'Brien.
Yep, we did, and thankfully the Kraken came through for us. That's what's important there.
Yep.
Took Jake O'Brien, but yeah, it's a fun time. I think everybody's going to enjoy the video, and thanks to your brother for putting it together for us, and going through all the hassle of having to work with us, and really the audio issues of the NHL blaring music right into our mics essentially the entire time.
It was a technical challenge for sure on many different levels. So another big thanks to my brother on that one. So you ready to dive into some over unders, Dylan?
I definitely am, and I think we should start with a review of last season. What our over unders were, and what we ended up picking, and how that went for everybody.
Yes, so definitely. And when you say everybody, you mean it, because
Hmm.
one of the cool things we do with these over unders is that you can play along with us when picking these over unders. It's not just for me and Dylan. In the last 3 years, we've done this. We create a Google form. And of course, we'll have the link down below in the description on the YouTube. And then, of course, in the description for the podcast, we'll have the link. We'll post that on all our socials. If you follow us anywhere, you'll
You
be
should
able to
see
see
it.
this link. We're going to put it out far and wide. We'll put it on the Discord. We'll put it everywhere. And you can play along with us and pick these over unders as well. And so, of course, we will go back in a year's time, next August, and see how everybody did. And right now, we're going to look and see how everybody did last year. So, Dylan, we'll start with you and I here, so we
Okay.
can get this out of the way, because it's not important. We don't need to talk about it
Oh,
really.
okay.
So, the way this works is we each picked 10 over unders to give each other, right? And so
Yeah.
we only answered each other's. That creates 20 total. And then actually last year you threw in 2 bonus ones that the fans could answer, right?
Hmm.
So there were 22 for everybody else for the community, 10 for each of us though.
Hmm.
And I regret to inform you, Dylan, that you did very well. You got 8 of the 10 correct,
Oh wow.
continuing your usual excellence with this. I need to step it up. I did even worse than usual. It was your best year and my worst year. I only got 3 out of the 10 correct.
Oof. Oof.
That is rough.
Yes. It was a
And I can't. Yeah, go
oh no,
ahead.
I was gonna say it was a good year to be pessimistic, I guess.
It certainly was, and I'll get into that, how extreme that is a little bit later. That was my big problem. Believe it or not, everybody, for those listening to this podcast, I was too optimistic. That's been my problem really the last 2 years with these over-unders. I yeah, I was too optimistic on a lot of these things. I picked way too many overs. Over 6.5 power play goals for Matty Beniers. What was I thinking? So maybe I should be more pessimistic this year, or maybe the Kraken are due to have a season that's not entirely disappointing. I don't know. We'll see where you set the lines this year.
Mhm.
But Dylan, you were a pessimist. I remember watching back that episode now. I was trying to convince you to take some more overs and be more fun, but you would not have it.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling. That being said, I have the opposite feeling this year. And I do think with some of the lines I set, they are a little bit more on the optimistic side. So we'll see where you're at. I have a feeling we might have flip-flopped from last off season where we're both at as far as viewing the team. But I will say for anybody listening right now, don't turn it off. I am a little bit more optimistic this year.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good sign there. Now, looking at the community and how everybody did in general. So I want to give a big congratulations to our winner, Ryan Savage, who got 16 out of the 22 correct. That
Nice.
is very impressive. Good job, Ryan. Excellent accomplishment there. Um, don't want to take any wind out of your sails here, Ryan, but it's great what you did. You did just slightly worse than if somebody had just picked the under every single time, which this is wild. So I remember last year on this episode, I went back and ran through the numbers and everything. And if somebody had just taken the under every single time, they would have tied for the win.
It's
And
crazy.
that was crazy to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? That can't happen again. That was just insane, right? But this year, the under would win outright, getting 17 out of the 22 correct, one better than Ryan. Uh, Dylan, like, are we setting the lines too optimistically here? But just it's because some of the unders aren't even necessarily like optimistic versus pessimistic. It's
Right.
not like team goals scored or whatever. There's just so many unders.
It's kind of a weird phenomenon. I think it's just because that's just the way the Kraken seasons have gone these last 2 years. But I don't think it can happen 3 years in a row. I think to feel safe, everybody. I don't know if you want to just go take all the unders. I guess you
I'm
could hedge your
surprised somebody
bets.
hasn't done that yet.
Yeah,
Given how it went last year, I went and looked at the user submissions and saw that nobody just picked under every time. Well, I did because it was just I was testing it, so I just put a
right.
test one in there that did under for everything, and it ended up winning. So,
Okay, that's great. It's great stuff. No, I'm optimistic that that won't be the case this year.
all right. So, should we run through the last year's ones just real quick? Just do a
Yes.
speed run real quick to see
Yeah.
how they went. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll go in the order that they were on the Google forum. So if you're going back and looking at your submissions and want to play along, so we'll start with the 10 that I did,
Hmm.
that I proposed to you here. So over under 0.5 Gordie Howe hat tricks. That one ended up under. It didn't happen. The community was pretty split on that. It was 51-48 in favor of over, but under hits there. Over under 128 and a half Mariners and Kraken combined wins.
I loved that
So
question.
yeah, no, that was a good one. I went with 128 and a half. Of course, the Mariners season still needed to finish up. 58% taking the over. So optimistic on the Mariners and Kraken combined. The actual number was 120. So definitely 8.5 less wins than the line. So the under hits there, of
That's still
course.
an impressive line, I think, all things considered.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. Like I was
Yeah.
going based on Mariners projected wins and the Kraken maybe improving a little bit more
Yeah.
than they did. Um, over under 19 and a half jersey number of Kraken's leading point scorer. So this one I thought it's like would be fun. I try every year. I think it's going to be fun, and every year it's just Jared McCann. And so again, it's Jared
It
McCann.
kind of
So the
breaks
under
it.
hits
Yeah.
there. But it was 51-48. So I thought I set the line in a pretty good place at the
Hmm.
time. But Jared McCann's side takes it. Over under 1.5 Kraken players in the Four Nations face off. So this one was also pretty split,
Hmm.
51-48. Most people taking the over though. It was only one. and it was one that very few people could have predicted, I think, in August, the Capo Caco. But it's him and nobody else, the Four Nations face off. Over under 100.5 points by former Firebirds. So the guys really contributing to that are Shane Wright, Riker Evans, Ty Cartier, and then I had Morrison and Winterton on here as well. So 100.5 was a little high, 67% taking the under, and of course the under was correct. The real number was 83. So they fell well short of it, mostly driven by Shane Wright and his production, but yeah, didn't really get the production from Evans or Cartier as much as projected, and then Morrison and Winterton combining for 1 point there. Then this one I was really off the mark here, and you guys made me pay on it. Over under 5.2555 million cap hit on Matty Benier's next contract. 77% took the over, and it was well over because we were kind of projecting a bridge deal. It ends up being a long-term deal at over 7 million, so not even close on that one. Next one was over under 39.5 Philip Grubauer starts. 77%, even more than the Beniers thing, taking the under there on the Grubauer starts, and it was way under. It was only 26. We know how last season went for Philip Grubauer. Over under 20.5 Shane Wright goals. And this is where I got most people to bite. 72% were optimistic on that one, taking the over. I believe you even took the over on that one.
Yeah, I think I did.
And that one, of course, he finishes just shy with 19 goals on the season. So unfortunately doesn't hit that mark. A little more ice time, maybe he would have. And then another one, over under 49.5 Chandler Stevenson points. 56%, so 58% taking the under. And you know what? He hits the over. He actually does get over 49.5%. So good on Chandler Stevenson there from a point production standpoint.
Good lines on each of those last two, by the way.
Yeah, getting pretty close on those. I mean, I used just his last season's performance of 51 points. I figured it, it'll be around there, but maybe a little bit lower. It was. I'll credit to you though on that. You said for Stevenson, you're like, oh man, you were going back and forth. You took the over, but you're like, it's going to be really close. It's going to be like right where he was last season. And so pretty good on that one. And then my last one, over under 1.5 Joey Decord goalie goal attempts. 85% of you took the over. You took the over, Dylan. Unfortunately, the under hit. It was just one. March 1st against Vancouver. Tyler Myers, enemy of fun, just pawing that puck down in the neutral zone, and Joey didn't try it again.
Yeah, they just were never really in a spot, unfortunately, right? Because the way the team was playing, there wasn't that many times where other teams had the empty net out there for Joey to go for it. It was just an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah, unfortunately there. Now moving on to your over-unders, and real quick, Dylan, I have a little bit of a bone to pick with you here on these, because I don't know, they feel too just like in the weeds stats-wise. They feel not fun enough to me, like compared to my Joey Decord goalie goal attempts. Then we got you team face-off percentage, PDO, things like that. Like, I don't mind delving into the stats or whatever, but for these over-unders, I don't know. Could you make them a little more fun?
What's easier though, like for an over under than tracking? I want it to be something that people can actually track at home. And
they can't track goal attempts at home.
Numbers are easy. You forget by March.
They can't track Kraken and Mariners wins at home.
I'm just saying. It's numbers are there, and
all right. We'll see if you do better this year later on the fun front. But let's go to last year.
I was gonna say, if you have an issue with getting in the weeds numbers wise, maybe not. I may have just gone up a level.
Oh boy. All right. Well, everyone stay tuned for this. It depends on which one you like, and let us know in the comments actually, because I feel like we have very different styles with this, and you'll see it with both of ours this year too. Do you like the more in the weeds numbers wise one? I'm sure if you're listening to a Kraken podcast in August, you're probably a little more locked in as a fan. So let us know what you think. But anyway, on to yours last year. Over under 48.7% team face-off percentage. I'm falling asleep already. That's weird. The graph is showing something different. Okay, yeah, there we go. 53% took the over on the team face-off percentage. I took the over. It was actually under. Do you have the exact numbers on these?
Yeah, it was 48.5.
Okay, so good job setting the line. That was very close. but just slightly under on team face-off
That
percentage.
that is one that I have done every year, and that tradition does continue this year, by the way. Team face-off percentage. So if you really do hate that one like RJ, sorry.
Well, I guess I'll have to. I mean, I'll just take the under for just the sake of it, because why not?
Yeah.
Next, over under 9.89 team shooting percentage. 72% took the over. I
Mhm.
took the under. And of course, the over hits.
Yep.
What was the actual shooting percentage?
10.9%. So they creamed that one on the over, and that was good to see. I mean, the one thing the Kraken did do actually last year was score somehow.
Yeah, and I think not a lot of people saw that coming to that level. Next, over under 4.5 team shutouts. 54% took the over. Actually, pretty optimistic the goaltending would bounce back. The actual number was 2, right?
Yeah, yeah, and the over under was set at 4.5, so I was a little bit more optimistic about what Joey and Gru could do together there, and did not come to be.
Well, you can tell we hadn't seen how they play
No,
defensively yet.
we did not.
So we learned that one pretty soon. Next one, over under 79.15% team PK percentage. 69% of you figured that it would get better, that the PK would be more improved, and took the over. Unfortunately, what was it?
77.2. First year under Bob Woods, last year under Bob Woods. It did not go well. I really thought that, yes, the trajectory would continue to grow from there. Thought adding Brandon Montour to the back end, things would get better, and they just did not.
Yep. So next, over under 100.55, 5-on-5, a lot of fake phone number here, 5-on-5 PDO. Which is, of course, shooting percentage plus save percentage. So 61% of you took the over on that one. And it was considerably under. What was the actual number?
99.8. Yeah, the save percentage really tanked this one. That was the problem with the Kraken having a save percentage last year of 888 as a team. Really hurt.
Which is wild with Joey Decord playing the
Yeah.
majority of the games there. Next, over under 11.8 Shane Wright shooting percentage. I believe it was over 20% the previous season, but we figured, of course, it would drop as he had a little bit more shooting volume. He didn't really have enough shooting volume, it felt like. And, even at the end of the year, Shane himself said to us in the exit interviews, I need to get that shooting percentage a little lower, shoot the puck more.
Yeah, because the shooting percentage was an impressive 20.9% for Shane Wright last season. But yeah, that means he did not shoot the puck a lot.
Yeah, so 58% picking the over. The over does hit, so
Yeah.
love everybody there. And I actually, if one of the few I actually got right there by taking the over. Next one, you had over under 52.6% for Chandler Stevenson's face-off percentage.
Yep.
Uh, 54% of you went with the under, and the under actually hit.
Yeah, I set that based off of his career average face-off percentage, and yeah, first year in a new place, Chandler Stevenson, 51.6% last year. You know, I suspect it'll probably go up this year just because stuff like that tends to happen first year in a new place for people. But yeah,
Yeah, not a huge drop off, but a slight one there for
yep.
Stevenson. Next, over under 6.5 Matty Beniers power play goals. And 58% taking the over, being optimistic there. And I remember watching back the episode, I said, Matty Beniers got close to that last year. And
Mhm.
it felt like everything that went wrong for him the previous year did. What are the odds that it can't improve? It has to. So I very strongly took the over here. Unfortunately, it was the under. How many did he get?
He got 5. So he had 6 the year before. I thought that the progression of him as a player, all of that, more ice time on the power play was going to make it go up. It unfortunately did not. Still, 5 is not a bad number. And I will say, for the player specific ones, this is another one I've done every year and will continue to do this year. So you can wait and see what I have the line set at a little bit later on.
All right. Well, I don't mind that one as much. That's something that's easy enough to track, and I mean, it's got. I'm going to be tempted to take the over again. So over under 55.5%. Adam Larson D zone starts. This is a Dylan pick if there ever was one. 67% of you going with the over. I also took the over,
Over crushed
thinking
it.
that, yeah, yep. So what was it actually?
63%. So it
Okay.
demolished that 55 number. What were you
Yep.
thinking when you took the over?
I was thinking that because I remember I said that with Montour and Dunn and Evans on that blue line, it was going to be a little more specialized. You could kind of stack up the guys offensively, and that Larson was going to be able to be used more, specialized
Hmm.
role defensively.
Yeah.
Next, over under 28 and a half Riker Evans points. So I'm a little surprised to see 54% took the under. I feel like a year ago we were pretty bullish on Riker Evans, but of course with Brandon Montour showing up and taking up a lot of the offensive role in the power play time, we knew that was going to hinder the numbers. He ends up with only 20 points against the 28.5, so the under does hit.
Yeah, I wrote 25. Did you only have 20?
Or was it 25?
Yeah,
25 points.
yeah.
You're
20,
right.
25 points. Yeah, I had he was on pace for a little over 20 the previous year. He'd been a 40-point guy in the AHL with the insane playoff production. Does that translate? I do like every year putting in a player-specific one for one of the young guys coming in that we don't really have data for and trying to set a line, and I do that again this year. But yeah, unfortunately, a little bit of a rough year for Riker Evans.
Yeah, but you know what? Close. You set the line at a pretty good spot, I think.
Hmm.
Next, over under 1.5 NHL players traded for by the end of the trade deadline. I think this is a fun one. I like
Yeah.
this one. And 58% of you going with the under, but man, the over really hit.
Yeah.
Kako, Daniel Sprong, Mikey Asimont coming back. I mean, a lot of players actually coming the Kraken's way.
Yeah, no, they did a good job of hitting the over on that one, and yeah, this is again, I do have fun stuff in here. You act like I got no fun stuff in
Okay,
here.
yeah, you just sprinkle it in there. And then this was also fun, I thought. Over under 3.5 goals scored against the Kraken by former Kraken players. So this one, it feels like the over is actually the pessimistic approach. And
Yes,
so 64% go in the over, but actually it was pretty safely the under.
it was. Every year this feels like the number should go up because the list of former Kraken grows and grows. Uh, but only one goal was scored last year against the Kraken by a former Kraken member, and that was by Ryan Donato. And yeah, it solidly took the under. This one's not coming back. This
Okay.
question's not coming back.
Yeah. But maybe in a
There's
few
just
years it's
a
worth bringing it back.
it is the thing is so many players keep going to the Eastern Conference that it makes it tough because they're only going to see them once or twice. The other thing is, you know, if you're leaving the Kraken, uh, are you leaving for a spot where you realistically get that much more ice time and or playing time? Like a lot of the guys that we thought were going to do damage against the Kraken last year, players like Daniel Sprong going into Vancouver, situations like that, they just didn't even play the Kraken. There was a lot of these guys who just didn't even end up playing the Kraken because they were just scratched during those games, and so that kind of affected things in a way we weren't anticipating.
Yeah. Now, Dylan, I'm sorry, we have to take a little break from the over-unders. It's a good stopping point because we just went over all of last year's.
Oh,
Before we head
breaking
into the
news.
over-unders, yes, we have some breaking news actually.
Okay.
Before we head into the over-unders for this year, the Kraken have named Ryan Jankowski as an assistant general manager. So
Okay.
Jankowski was with the Utah Mammoth as what was his title there? He was the associate director of amateur scouting with the Utah Mammoth. He had the same role with the Coyotes, of course, before the relocation from 2020 to 2024. He was also an assistant GM with the New York Islanders from 2005 to 2010. So interesting, Kraken adding an assistant GM. I mean, interesting. Also, my first thought, of course, was Jeff Tambellini he was named an assistant GM with the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? He left the
Hmm.
Kraken to take that role. Also with Jason Botterill becoming the GM, right? As Ron Francis gets promoted to team president, Botterill gets promoted from assistant GM to GM. You'd think on paper that does open up an assistant GM spot, right? There is that role there. And of course, the Kraken go ahead and fill it.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at the resume here for Jankowski, Pretty impressive. Definitely a major focus on the amateur scouting side of things, going back all the way through his hockey resume here, including going way, way back to when he served as a scout for the Spokane Chiefs of the WHL from 97 to 2003, covering the entire Alberta province. So this is good. I think, bringing in somebody that's going to specialize there on the scouting side of things, amateur wise, adding already to what the Kraken already do a great job with what Robert Cron and the scouting staff does there. I think this is big. Think of what the Coyotes and now Mammoth have done as far as drafting, and they do a great job of drafting forwards, RJ, like
Hmm.
especially, right? Like they absolutely nail all their forward picks. So that's I think something good to be looking forward to for the Kraken here.
Right, and taking a quick look at just the draft history over the last few years. I mean, since 2020, or really, I mean, I'll start at 2021 because that's
Yeah.
his when he had a first full year on the job, and also in 2020 they had very few draft picks. They had a fourth, fifth, sixth, and two sevenths. But you've got players like Dylan Gunther, Josh Doan, who they just traded away, but JJ Moser, an overager in the second round, Logan Cooley, of course, third overall, Connor Geeky a little bit later in the first round there, and then after that you got Simashev, Boot, Hrabal. Those guys haven't got to the NHL yet. It's too early to tell on those players, but good early returns from their forwards drafted high.
Yeah, exactly. So I like this pickup for the Kraken.
Yeah. So fun bit of breaking news there, right in between. I appreciate it. The Kraken usually time these things right after the
I
podcast
was gonna
ends.
say.
This is great. We circumvent the deep dive curse on that one. And it's just timed well. This is might be the best timing for anything
Hmm.
ever because it's timed right in between. Like it was actually in the
Yep.
transition moment from one set of over-unders to this year. So thank you, Kraken, for announcing it right then.
Definitely. That was some good stuff. Making things happen at 11:11.
Yeah, you make a wish. All right, so moving on to the over-unders this year. And I figure we'll do it like previous years where we'll just kind of alternate, go
Yep.
1, 1, 1, 1. And so I'm going to start with the team-based over-unders
Hmm.
like we did last year. Do you want to do your first team-based one, or should I do it?
We could do mine because we've already talked about it, and that is of course team face-off win percentage. So the cumulative face-off percentage for the team, I have the over/under set at 49% this year. It was 48.5 last year, 47.5 the year before, 45.3, 47.7, just to go all the way back through. This year, I think you get bumps from Maddie and Shane being another year experience. That's a big thing for centers, especially for Maddie Beniers entering his third full season. That tends to be when we see a big uptick in face-off percentage for young guys. But I am factoring in, as much as I think it goes up from those guys, I am factoring in a slight dip. You're going from Yanni Gord to a Frederick Gaudreau, and he does have a worse career percentage there than what Yanni Gord had. So 49% RJ is the over under for team faceoff percentage.
Okay, so thinking this one through, I was the first thing I did was go look up Freddie Gaudreau's face-off stats, and they're not as good as I would have thought. So I'm tempted to take the under here because I've been too optimistic in the past. 49%, it's not that high,
It would
but
be the highest the Kraken have ever achieved for a season, though.
yeah, okay, well then I'm definitely taking the under. If you
Okay.
phrase it like that, I'm taking the under. I'll start it off here a little less optimistic than in past years.
That's fair. I mean, it's a half a percentage point above what they did last year. That is a little bit of a big gain. So, but I liked going with a nice round number this year. And again, we'll really see if Matty Beniers can take that step forward there. And I think Shane Wright also just not can focus a little bit more on it now that he's got a full season under his belt. But that is my first one there.
I wouldn't be surprised to be wrong, just usually because I'm wrong on a lot of these. So hopefully I am on that one. So I'll test your optimism early here.
Mhm.
First team based over under 2.5 over under 2.5 wins in their new third jersey.
Okay.
Now, a lot of question marks here because we don't know how many games they're going to wear that third jersey for. We don't know what the third jersey looks like. So maybe by looking at it, you could tell if it's going to have good vibes or bad. But you're going in blind here.
Yeah, a little bit.
The bit of information I will give you, because this
I
is
was
I
gonna
looked it up to kind of
say,
help set the line. in the reverse retro jerseys, because that was
Oh
their
yeah,
last third
those.
jerseys that they had. Of course, they were the only team in the NHL with 0 wins in the
Yes.
reverse retro. They did play 4 games though. They were 0
Hmm.
for 4 there. So I imagine they'll probably wear the third jersey more than that
Well, that's the
because it's
thing.
not part of a league-wide thing, but I don't know.
How many games do NHL teams wear their third jerseys?
Insulting Google
Because
already.
yeah, well, because that's an important piece of information to know. Let's see. This is I've seen an article back in a while that said it's like 12 to 15 times per season.
Well, they got
Um,
41 home games. Like, I guess, a rough percentage. What do you think they're
because
gonna? I imagine they're gonna want to show them off because they're gonna sell.
right, I was gonna say, let's see, Buffalo did theirs last year for 15 games. Rangers did theirs for 10 games. So somewhere in the
I may have set this line
10
too low.
10 to 15 range. I think because it seems pretty safe to go double digits. The probably all be home games. Kraken tend to be maybe a little better at home. 2.5. I'll take the over.
All right, Dylan
I
taking the
think they
over
can get to
there.
at least three wins. Even if it's 10 games, then we're talking about like a 33% win percentage. I'm okay with that.
All right, Dylan says the New Jerseys will not be cursed.
Or at
As we
least
come
that
up.
cursed. Don't
Okay,
totally
at
put me
least
on the
not
record
that
with no
cursed. Yeah,
curse, but they won't be
yeah,
that
like
cursed.
3-7 record. I don't know if we'll be talking cursed at that point, but they will do better than the reverse retros. I'm pretty confident of that.
Yep. All right. Should I just get all of the questions you hate out of the way first, RJ, or should I
Go for
sprinkle
it.
in the
Yes,
fun
yes.
one here? Because on the list, I do have a funner one here, a more fun one for those who are
I
gonna
say get
just.
the boring ones out of the
Okay,
way
okay.
first. Let me take my medicine here.
Team save percentage, RJ. Your over under is 901 save percentage. Now last year it was 888, year before that it was 903, 886 and 880. Now the reason why I think this could be the Kraken's second ever season over 900 is because Joey Decord is going to be the guy getting most of the starts as he did last year. The difference is I think this year if Philip Grubauer struggles, I think they're going to be quicker to make a change, bring up Matt Murray, have Matt Murray in some of those games. And Matt Murray, I think, can be a 900 guy, probably. And so, I just don't think that you're going to necessarily have somebody behind Joey Decord that's going to drag this number down. The other thing why I think that it could go up a lot this year is because of Lane Lambert's defensive system being installed compared to what we had last year under Dan Bylsma. So, it's a pretty big step up from where it was at last year. But I also don't think 901 save percentage is really that like unattainable for an NHL team.
It's still below league average.
Hmm.
So, you think it's attainable. I mean, my gut says under, just always hammer the under with with the same percentage thing, right? I do think Joey's going to do a better job, and the defensive system should help. Again, if it works, if it's executed properly, it should work. My gut says take the under here, but against all my instincts, I'm going to take the over. I think the combination of the defensive system and really, I just believe in Joey Decord. Like
Right.
that's really why I think this, because he's going to play so many games. They're going to run him into the ground if they can,
Hmm.
and if he just plays with even a halfway competent defense in front of him and plays like he did last season, that save percentage is going to be higher. And Grubauer is not going to have the opportunity. If Grubauer is as bad as he was last year, he's not going to be playing games by the end of the year.
Right. He's not going to get 26 games with an
Right.
875 save percentage, right? Like that can't
That will
happen
not
again.
happen.
Yeah, that can't happen again. So I think you're safe taking the over on this one.
All right. Well, 2 overs already. This is not good.
2 overs, 40 minutes into the pod. Let's go.
All right. So let's move on here. My next team-based one, and so again, we'll test your optimism here.
Hmm.
Over or under 4.5 wins on the second half of back-to-backs. Now, I
Okay.
had to include one
Yes.
about the back-to-backs here. Of course, the Kraken going 0 for 12 last year on the
Hmm.
back-to-backs. This year, I think they have 13 back-to-backs.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that means 13 second half of the back-to-backs. And I'm pulling up the schedule for them. It's difficult. They have 3 of those at home, 10 on the road, 8 of them are against playoff teams. It is a tough slate.
Yes.
Do you think the Kraken can manage over 4.5 wins there?
That's
And by the way, 4.5, that's a 75-point pace. If they get 5 wins, if they hit the over, that is a 75-point like full season pace.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think you did set this pretty perfectly, because 4 feels about right. Like just because it's been such a point of emphasis for the organization, right? Like everybody really cares about this number. I would say you could go 0-13 in those as long as you improve on like the much larger rest of the schedule. But everybody seems very obsessed with this back-to-back thing. Um, it's 4 or 5 feels exactly right. I think you really nailed the line on this one. I'll take the under though. I think it's gonna be 4.
Okay. I think they're gonna really bounce back on these back-to-back things, 'cause I
I
just think
I
there's gonna
could
be
see
so
it.
much effort poured into it. Everybody like it, and that level of effort that almost like won't make sense given just
It's
that
very
they don't
possible.
mean any more in the standings. But I think you're gonna see, especially early on. I think they'll like go 3-1 or something to start the 4, just because they're gonna really care about it.
I could totally see that. I could see some situations. Also, if those are the harder games and the easier games are the night before, where maybe they're thinking ahead a little bit, like it's possible that they kind of reverse how they did, and you all of a sudden
Yeah,
are a
the
lot
first
better on
half
the
they just
back to
do really
back,
poorly,
and
and
they
then
do really poorly on the first half of the back to back. We'll see, but I think that's a good one there from you. My next one is team shootout goals scored.
oh,
RJ,
that's
how
fun.
many goals will they score in the shootout this year as a team, as a collective? And I've really been bouncing back and forth on this number because I do think that the team is going to go to more shootouts this year than last year. Last year's team, we just didn't really see overtime from them. I think this year's team is going to be a little bit better. It's going to mean more overtimes. That being said, I'm setting the line at 5.5. They had 5 last year, 8 the year prior, thanks to Yamamoto being there. He was able to really pile those up. 1 in year 2, because they were just winning games outright, and then
Yeah.
5 during their inaugural season. So twice they've hit 5. Only once have they had more than 5. I'm setting the line at 5.5.
All right, I think you've set this line too low. I'm going to hammer the over here for 2
Yeah.
reasons. One, Freddie Gaudreau, shootout ace Freddie
Hmm.
Gaudreau. He's going to get those opportunities. He's going to score on him. And 2, Lane Lambert's defensive system, where I think ideally you should be in closer games. You should be getting more games that go to overtime. And if you're conservative in overtime, of course, that leads to a shootout. But that seems like the goal, and that's the way you're gonna, if you can possibly sneak your way into the playoffs, you're gonna have to go to overtime a lot. You're gonna have to go to a lot of shootouts. So I could see that being the case.
Yeah, I really struggled with whether or not I should make this 6.5 instead of five
Hmm.
and a half, and I think that would have been a tougher choice, but I wanted to leave room for the team to surprise us
All
on the
right, well, there
upside.
you go. I think I still would have taken the over at 6.5.
Okay, all right.
So my next team-based over/under, and yeah, this maybe not too complicated, but over/under 1.5 of, and make sure you're listening, Jaden Schwartz, Jordan Eberle, Mason Marchment, Ellie Tolvanen, and Jamie Alexiak on the roster on March 7th. That, of course, is the day after the NHL trade deadline.
Right, and the line is 1.5.
Yes, so those are
Yes,
5
yeah,
players I mentioned, and I can
yes.
repeat them to you.
No, no, no,
Schwartz, Eberle,
I don't
Marchment.
need it,
You got them.
RJ, because I also have this question,
Oh, you do?
and I set the line at 2.5, so I will take the over on yours.
Wow. Okay. All
Because
right
yes, I
then.
had it. How many will be left on the team after the trade deadline? 2.5. Schwartz, Tolvaden, Everly, Marchman, Alexiak, all the
All right. Well,
expiring
then I guess
deals.
I'll take the under on yours.
Yeah, all right. So there we go. Because I do think like 2 feels like the sweet spot there. I think 2 of them are going to be there, for
Okay.
sure. So um, there you go. I don't know how you're going to put that on the Google form, but
Hmm. Hmm. Maybe I'll do 4 options, like over
yeah.
under. No, I don't know.
That was, by the way, the question I pushed. It was second on my list, but I pushed it to get the boring stats ones out of the way for you.
Okay. Okay.
That was one of my fun ones there. But yes, I will take
Well, I guess
the.
I can agree it was fun, given that I
Yes,
included it in
you have
mine.
to. You do have to say that it was indeed fun. All right, well that makes that one easy. I take the
Should
over
I
on
go to my
yours. You
next
take
one,
the
or
under
what's the
one.
order?
Oh well, yeah, I guess so because that burns my next one too, basically.
Right. All right. So I was worried that we might overlap on some of these. They just
Hmm.
felt so obvious. So I'll change one of mine slightly from last year. Of course, I had over under 1.5 Kraken players at the Four Nations face off.
Yeah.
So it just feels natural this year to have over under 3.5 Kraken players and prospects at
Ooh.
the Olympics.
Okay. So doing that specifically for Oscar Fisker Molgard.
Yes, basically that includes Oscar Fisker Molgard. Yes.
All right. So thinking about the Olympics, one of Tolvanen or Capo Caco is going to be on the Finnish team for sure. Probably Capo Caco. Tolvanen is going to be borderline, I think. And then Oscar Fisker Molgard will be there. Am I forgetting another prospect that's like on one of the
Not
smaller
that I
countries?
am aware of.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
so. So it's really, do I think, what was the line? You had it at 3.5?
3.5, yeah.
Okay, so do I think that Tolvanen also definitely goes for Finland and like Montour makes Team Canada?
Well, you're missing Philip Grubauer.
Oh, I'm missing Philip Grubauer. You're right. Thank you for that. Okay, so 3 are guaranteed. Do I think one of Tolvanen, Montour, maybe Vince Dunn makes a team? Matty Beniers could make Team USA too. Probably not.
I think you're missing the most likely Team USA guy.
Who am I missing? Joey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
More likely than Matty, I think.
Yeah, no, maybe after what he did last year. All right, I'll take the over. That's a lot of like dice rolls. I'll take that.
Now the on the other side of it too, though, is injuries.
Yes, but I think that injuries probably benefit the Kraken players more than not, just because they open up spots, right?
Yeah,
I would play the field
like
I would play the field that a different Finnish forward gets injured rather than Eli Tolvanen gets injured, right? Like that, just the odds would say that somebody else is more likely.
I guess so. Yeah.
One of like 13 other guys is more likely to get injured than just Eli Tolvanen. So I would same with defensemen for Team Canada, same for goalies for Team USA. So I will take the over on 3.5.
That's the perfect transition for a Rico read too. I mean, the odds say someone will get injured.
Yes, definitely say someone will be injured. The teams will not line up the way everybody's gonna predict. Probably during this month when everything's slow in August, when they're building out their roster predictions, somebody will be injured, and when they are, they should call Rico. That's a good one. I think that's a good line. Because again, I feel like the number is 3, but I will take all those dice rolls and hope one of them hits. Hit. Yeah, I like that. That's a real gambler's question there, and I appreciate it. All right, so my last team-based one, because I do 5 and 5. This is the sicko question, RJ.
Oh boy.
This is for, you know who this is for? This is for Chuck. Chuck, if you're listening, this one's for you. This is for all the real like stat analytics sickos out there. Okay. Team expected goals for 5-on-5 league ranking according to Natural Stat Trick 24.5. So I will explain this. Where in the league will the team rank amongst other teams for just expected goals for at 5-on-5 at the end of the season? And I have that line set at 24.5. So ranking 24th or 25th, right? Like in there, for the entire league for generating expected goals for at 5-on-5. Now, last year they were at 29th, but if they had just improved by 5 expected goals over the course of the season, they would have jumped to 24. That's kind of how I set this line. The season before, they were at 24th. Year 2, they were at 19th, and then inaugural season, they were at 30. But that's kind of where I have the line this year. I think 24.5. I thought about maybe making it 25.5, but again, I want to be optimistic.
Okay. So I'm doing some very quick research here. So this is 5-on-5.
5-on-5 expected goals for, not percentage. No, just expected goals for. Yes. No percentage. Just so again, I didn't want to factor in anything negative. I'm keeping vibes pure. This is just how many expected goals can the Kraken generate as a team? Just how much can they generate?
Okay. So 24th is your like 24. Okay. So what I went to look up.
By the way, I think Toronto was 24th, just to put in perspective of like, if you're not doing percentage, like good teams can be towards the bottom and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing, expected goals. Basically, the first thing I went to look up was, because this is one of those, it can depend a lot on kind of the way you play and the type of, because expected goals models, certain ones can be very volume driven, right? And you can kind of game those a little bit. So I wanted to see where Lane Lambert's 2022-23 New York Islanders landed
Yep.
on this list if I
Yep.
were to do the same ranking.
Yep.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They were 13th.
Yeah, I was gonna say I looked them up and it was not as bad as I thought they would be.
So in that case, because look, I think the real goals are going to go down because I think they're going to improve defensively and get worse offensively.
Right.
But given that Islanders result, I'm gonna wait. So is the over? I'm
Over
gonna
would
go
be
say
24 or better.
higher than 24. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. No, I originally had the numbers set lower and then I looked up the Islanders teams and they were better and I was like, okay, here we go. Cuz a
All right,
lot
so
of
I knew
the
I would do that then.
yeah. I based this off of last year because the difference between where they were at 29 and like 24 or 25 was like 5 expected goals. I was like they can make that up, but then it was like another 5 jump just to go up like 2 more spots, and I was like, okay, 10 expected goals. I know that's a lot to add year over year. So that's kind of how I set this line. But yes, that's my big team in the weeds stats question for the real sickos out there. I love you all.
All right. Well, that wasn't so bad, I guess. All right.
It's
All right. I
different.
won't. I like that stuff as much as the next year. I really do. I just for this, I tend to go simpler. So here, I have mine that's like a combined thing now.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the most complicated, but it's really not that complicated. So last year, remember, I had Mariners and Kraken combined wins, and I thought that was a good one. That was a fun one. So I was going to repeat that one, but I thought maybe I can do better here. Over under 56.5 combined wins.
Okay.
Kraken plus PWHL Seattle.
Nice. Let's go. All right.
So I can give you a little information on this too. Of course, Kraken. Now I'm double checking this to make sure
35
that's right.
last year.
35 wins last year,
Yep.
right? And then looking at the PWHL standings for last year, top of the league was, and I should have had this up already. I believe. Oh, come on. Regular season. There we go. It was Montreal Victoire with 19 wins. But then it was, Toronto with 15, Ottawa with 14, Minnesota with 15. So, if you're thinking kind of toward the top of the standings, you're 35 plus 15, maybe around 50 or so.
Okay. So we're factoring in the overtime wins.
Yes. Factoring in overtime wins. Yes.
Yep.
So you're looking at that, plus factoring in maybe PWHL Seattle being even better than some of these teams last year. I mean, we both think they're going to be very good. Also factoring in maybe a little bit of a bounce back for the Kraken, some improvement somewhere.
Right.
So 56.5 is where I set the line.
Okay, 56.5. So, like I was going to say, if the Kraken win 5 more games than last year, that puts them at 40. Then PWHL Seattle just has to be 500-ish. That roster seems better than 500. So unless I think there's going to be some real chemistry issues with them to kick off the season, 56.5. Yeah, because I think maybe 5 games is aggressive for the Kraken to improve, but I think they'll probably be a little bit over. Yeah, I'll take the over on this. It might be closer than we think, just because like maybe PWHL Seattle doesn't quite clean up like totally more. I don't know that they'll necessarily definitely have 20 wins, but I feel like they should have more than 15, and I think the Kraken are going to improve. So yeah, I'll take the over.
All right,
good line though. That feels like a good line.
Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I've gotten you to take 4 out of 5 overs so far on the team-based one. So there we go. I'm succeeding in my side goal here.
Yes, that does seem dangerous based on the last couple of years. This is where though things maybe don't get as optimistic, right? Because it's easier to believe in the team as a collective starting to improve. But now as we come into my 5 player specific ones, maybe then things are a little bit different. And I will, of course, start out with my annual Matty Beniers power play goals, 5.5. His last 4 years, 5, 6, 4, and then he had 2 in the 10 games he played year 1. I'll give you that info, not that it really helps, but I did lower it from 6.5 last year to 5.5 this year. That's right in between what he's done each of the last 2 seasons. What are you thinking?
You're going to make me take the over again by lowering the line. If you kept it at last year's, I was going to take the under. I know. Because the power play, I mean...
This is just a bounce. It could easily hit the over.
Yeah, it could. And I think I don't know, maybe some chemistry with Capo Caco. I know that's,
Hmm.
more of a 5-on-5 thing, but maybe they can find a way to make it work a little bit more on the power play. I think the power play is gonna has to maybe be somewhat improved. I want to see what it looks like with Berkeley Catton on it. And
Hmm.
I just don't think the opportunity is necessarily going to be taken away from Matty Beniers. He's still one of the more skilled players they have. He's still going to be on a power play unit. So I'll take the over here, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, there's different things. I think like the power play is going to be better, although it might start off slow just because new coaches in charge. Like we've talked about this
Yep.
last year, tends to be a little slow. I also, if I'm remembering correctly, he was on a power play unit with Yanni Newman, and Yanni Newman will be the trigger man on that. So like Maddie's not going to be in as many positions to shoot. However, Yanni Newman should be successful. There should open up time and space for other people out there. So it's a tough one, but I think taking the over. This one feels pretty 50-50 to me.
Yeah, I think you set the line at the right place. Any higher, and I would have, hammered the under. So good job. So you mentioned Yanni Newman. So he is the subject of my first player-based over/under. Over/under. Oh, are you worried because you
He's
have
he's
one?
he's my next one too, so we'll see what you've got.
52 and a half.
Okay, different numbers then.
Okay, Yanni Newman games played.
Okay, see, I thought about going the games played route, but then I was like, that one seems a little too obvious, so I'll go with something different. Um, no
All
offense.
right, all right.
No offense intended there, RJ.
Okay.
55 and a half. I'm taking the over.
Okay, taking the over. You
Yeah.
think he's going to be
I
a
don't like, yeah.
regular player, full-time guy?
Yeah, I do. I think at most he misses the 9 games while Catton's figuring things out, but there's just no way they're not going to make him part of the squad this year, I think. And I'm just not getting that feel from things. I think his shot is too good. It's going to be too needed. Him on the power play is going to be too needed, and the fact that he's a volume shooter is going to be too needed. So I think he's going to be out there, and I think that he'll be able to play in Lane Lambert's system as well. I think that's a big thing for me. He might have better odds of fitting within that system than say a Berkeley Catton does. So I'm a big believer in Yanni Newman this year. I just think putting him in the AHL to put up big numbers, and then if the team starts struggling, you can't justify that this year the way you kind of could last year with it being his first full North American season. So I will take the over on that.
Hopefully you're right. I would love for
Yeah.
you to be right there and hit the over. I just worry early on in the season, maybe they're want to have more of a veteran-based approach while they think they have a chance. So,
Yeah, maybe. I just think guy who scored 3 goals in 12 games last year is,
oh,
I mean,
I think he's good enough.
he's
I
too
think he's
he's too
ready.
good. And that's certainly reflected in my next over under, which is Yanni Newman goals 21 and a half.
Whoa,
Because I think
okay.
he's playing pretty darn
Higher
close
than
to a
the
full
Shane Wright
season.
one we had last season.
Yep. I think he's playing pretty darn close to a full season. He will be the focal point of whatever power play unit he's on, most likely the second unit. And I just think that he is the first true volume shooter that the Kraken have ever had. And I think that that's a big deal. I look at what he did in his brief, 12 games last year with the Kraken, 48 shot attempts in 12 games, 22 on net, so nearly 2 shots on goal per game, but 4 shot attempts per game. You look at what he did in the AHL, and it was, I just have shots on goal numbers, but it was close to 3 per game. This is the volume shooter that the Kraken have never had, and if he's going to be a volume shooter with that shot of his, and he's going to get some really good looks on the power play, I think there's no reason why he can't push 20 goals and go a little bit over if he plays, near a full season.
I'm sorry, Dylan. It's just too high. The number is just too high here. I mean, it's 20 goals. Like I think maybe he could get close to it, but there's just a lot of ifs. Like, does he have the games played that we talked about, or does he get that opportunity? I'm sure he would be the focal point of whatever power play unit he's on. If he's on the power play unit, if he's up at the NHL level, 20 goals is hard to do as a rookie. It really is. And I'm looking at the list of guys. That's why I looked up real quick. Just the list of guys who put up 20 goals as a rookie. And like it's all like really top guys. I mean, last year it was, Michkov, Celebrini, Cutter Goche. Those are all top
Hmm.
draft picks. The year before, you had Connor Bedard, Marco Rossi, Logan Cooley, and then you did have Tyson Forster there. So, maybe there's like
There
a
are weird
path.
guys that get in there, and again, for me, this is all just based on pure shot volume and the fact that he only needs to shoot at like 13%. with the
Hmm.
if he keeps the shot volume that he's had. So and that seems attainable. So it really does come down to opportunity in my opinion. But yeah, no, I thought about making it 20 and a half. I thought about making it 19 and a half. That's actually what I started out with, but that felt too low to me.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna take the under there. Just
Okay,
too many
that's fair.
question marks opportunity wise. All right, my next player based over under, and this one felt like a really hard line to set, so I may have been way off, depending on what you think it's gonna be. Over under 3.5. Matt Murray wins.
Ah, let's go. I will. Oh, that's a good one. Like, let's see. Like, I think Grubauer has a shorter leash this year, but he probably does better in the Lane Lambert system. There was only like 3 games played by somebody not Joey Decord or Philip Grubauer last year. Let's say Matt Murray gets like 5 or 6 games. Does he go 500 or better in those? It's close. I'll take the under. I think Grubauer is just going to do better.
Okay, interesting. Because I was
Maybe
looking at
that's
Kraken
yeah,
history, right? The most games played they've had from a goalie who's not one, because every season they've kind of had a top two clearly,
yeah,
going into the season, and they've never had a goalie play more than 5 games that wasn't one of their top two, most played
yeah.
goalies, and it's been Joey Decord both times with 5.
Right.
So the
And
opportunity hasn't been there before.
right. And again, it's one of those things like an injury occurs to one of those two guys, the opportunity is all of a sudden there, but like I don't want to predict an injury. So I will take the under with that
If you
asterisk.
believe Jason Bottrill, he says bringing in Matt Murray, it's just it's an Olympic year, condensed schedule. You might need more goalies.
You
I don't
might.
think that's going to happen
I don't think
organically
it's gonna
though.
happen either.
So
Yeah.
I think it's either going to be, significantly under or significantly over. Just
I
depends on
agree.
how things go.
I agree. And yes, maybe it's wrong of me to bet on Philip Grubauer. That would have been a losing bet for 4 years in a row. But I guess I'm doing it this year behind Lane Lambert. My next one here, RJ, was originally Chandler Stevenson points 53 and a half. And then I went, that's too simple. That's too basic. This is not a Dylan enough question. And so I went for the next couple questions. I went over to NHL Edge and I was like, let's get fun with these, or at least what I think is fun. Maybe RJ doesn't think these are fun. We're starting off with my boy Adam Larson, hardest shot this year,
Okay, this is
95.
definitely fun. This
Okay.
is fun.
All right, good. 95 and a half miles per hour, hardest shot for Adam Larson this season. Last year, his hardest was 98.34, which
Whoa.
is by far and away his hardest shot in the NHL that the NHL Edge has tracked. The year before that, it was 94.93, 96.09, and 95.11. So he really got a hold of one last year in a way that he just doesn't normally get a hold of one. But 95 and a half is the line for hardest Adam Larson shot next season.
I love this one. Dylan, this is good. You've got the assignment. This is fun. This, it's numbers and it's the advanced stats,
Yep,
whatever, but
yep.
it's fun. This is good job, Dylan. I'm proud of you. Okay. Oh, this one's really hard too, because I think you've
All
set
it
the
takes
line
is
in a
just
good
one
place.
moment, right? Where
Right.
everything
All it's
lines
it's
up.
one shot.
I will
And
say he averages around 10 in the 90 to 100 range shots a year.
uh-huh.
He has done that very consistently. It's always like 9 or 11 every year that the Kraken have existed. Happens to be the same length of time that NHL Edge has existed. So it's very convenient there. So he is going to have like around just about double digit number of attempts over 90 miles per hour. The question is, do they get over 95 and a half?
Yeah. I have to take the over here
Okay.
because Adam Larson, all it takes is one moment. I
All it
think
takes
there's
is
going to be
one.
some time this coming season where Adam Larson is just going to want to just slap the hell out of a puck at
Mm-hmm.
some point. As Dan Bilesma said last year, he's a Viking warrior.
Yep.
He's going to want to hit a puck super hard, and I think he's going to be able to do it. So I'll take the over. I can't bet against Adam Larson just hitting the puck really hard.
Yeah. That's totally fair. I do wonder, there was a couple numbers when I was looking at things where the edge numbers last year were kind of significantly higher than in previous seasons, and I do wonder if that, like, if there's just better tracking or something. So like I am intrigued if Larson hits another one that's in the like 98 range. I do wonder if that just means that the puck tracking and the player tracking has just gotten better, because as we'll find out for another one of mine upcoming, speeds also tended to have this little like uptick, and so I don't know what that totally means.
Interesting.
I'm
All
just
right. Well,
throwing
then
that
I
out
like my
there
odds
as the
more. Yeah.
first year I'm diving into this for the over under. That is something I did notice, and I do wonder if that's going to be a trend. So I'm just throwing that out there for people to keep an eye on if you care about that sort of thing.
Okay. Interesting stuff there. So my next over under is over under 17 minutes, and we go like 17 0 0 0 0 0 5 or whatever,
Hmm.
17 minutes, Shane Wright average ice time.
Yeah, I
So
left
that was
this
another
one
big
for you.
talking point.
I was
Okay,
like,
thank
I
you. That
knew
was
for a
another.
fact you were doing Shane Wright ice time.
Yeah, so I was worried we might overlap on this one too. So thank you, Dylan. So I mean, you know what this is.
Yep.
You know the Shane Wright ice time. He's a little over 14 minutes last season. I would expect a bump up this year. There better be.
Yes.
And 17 minutes would rank sixth among Kraken forwards last season. So that's kind of how I came up with this. That's kind of was the line between top six and top nine or bottom six. Do we think he gets that level of opportunity?
Oh, I'm gonna take the under, but just barely. Like I think it'll be over 16, but I don't think it's gonna be quite 17. Just because he is still a young guy. This is still Lane Lambert. He does still have a Chandler Stevenson at the center position to trot out there over him. And Matty Beniers is an established young core piece who is going to be getting those top 6 minutes at the center position as well. And I look at like what Matty Beniers did his first couple seasons. It was 1706 his first full year in the league, and then 1758 he jumped up by about a minute. There was not as much competition on the roster at that time, though. I feel like I think I'm going to take the under. I mean, that's a 3 minute jump in average
It
ice
is,
time. That's a big
but
jump
man,
when nobody has vacated a spot above him.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean that is a way to look at it. You look at it the other way and say you're saying he's going to get less average ice time at 22 than Matty Beniers did at age 20.
Yeah, but there wasn't like Chandler Stevenson and Matty Beniers on that roster. There was just Alex Wenberg.
Fair,
Right?
fair.
Like there was Yanni Gord, but we knew Yanni Gord was getting third line minutes, so it wasn't gonna be him. So I do think like there is a difference in just roster construction and constraints around that. I think the center position's just a little too clogged for him to get that. I think he's going to get a lot more power play minutes. I think that's going to help. I think his 5-on-5 minutes will go up, but a full 3 minute jump seems aggressive.
Yeah, I mean it aggressive in a way, yes.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
just
again,
gonna
should it
this is just
happen?
driving
Yes,
home
it
how
should
frustrating
happen.
it's going to be for me this season.
Yes. Should it happen? It absolutely should happen. I don't know. Maybe again, if they're out of it early, then yes, he could hit this over just because late in the season, you'll give him a lot more chances over at Chandler Stevenson. But Shane Wright is your worst face-off guy. Like, so that's going to limit
Still
certain
don't matter, but
opportunities.
yeah.
I'm just saying these are the way
Yeah, yeah.
coaches
No,
think.
again, I'm yeah,
I
no,
know.
you're right,
I
right?
know.
Like I do err toward the pessimistic side, especially with a new coach
Yeah.
who's going to have pressure of being a new coach and doesn't seem overly friendly toward younger players.
Yeah.
So no, you very well could be right. I think
Yeah.
it's if I had to put money on it, I probably would take the under like you have.
Yeah. So I'll take the under there. My next one, again, thanks to NHL Edge, Jaden Schwartz, high danger goals. So these are goals scored basically in the crease or in the low slot. So just kind of right in that net front area there. He had 13 last year, 10 the year before, 11 in year 2, and then 6 season 1. I have the number set at 11 and a half. So it's kind of right around what he's been doing these last couple years. Again, last 3 years, 13, 10, 11. You always have to factor in injuries though with Jaden Schwartz, but 11 and a half high danger goals scored according to NHL Edge for Jaden Schwartz.
All right. Well, I am going to factor injuries in a little bit here, and I'm sorry, it's just too easy to bet on some negative regression here. For Jaden Schwartz, I mean, given he had a healthy season that went about as well as it could have, and for an aging player, I'm probably going to take the under on just about everything Jaden Schwartz this year.
That's fair. That's fair. The other thing that we have to figure out, we should discuss now, is does this count if he's traded? Do we factor in any goals that are scored for a different team? If he's moved at
Ooh.
the deadline, or are we just saying it's Kraken goals and then maybe we like prorate that out, we project it out and see what that number would be?
Well, I think that's your call, Dylan. You're the author of this over under.
Um, I think, I think this is a Kraken pod. This is not the Red Glare pod. This is the deep dive. I think it has to be Kraken goals, but we will project it out as to what pace he was on with the Kraken. I think that's the way to do
Okay.
it.
Okay. All right, fair. I'm still taking the under,
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
but I think that is a fair way to approach it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
All
think
right.
that makes the most sense and is the most on theme for the pod. As much as I would like to just say it's just however many he scores regardless of team this year because that's easy to
Yeah, yeah. And
track.
that might make it harder on me if his new team or whatever gets traded to a contender and it goes to the net and scores a bunch of goals.
Yeah. So there's my next one there. Yeah.
All right. So next for me, I'm gonna kind of adapt one I did last
Is
year
it
where
next or last, RJ?
I have two more.
Did you do 11 again?
No, I had my 5 team ones, right?
3,
That we got
4,
there.
6, 7, 8,
Yanni
9, 10.
Newman.
I only have one left and I did 10. You
Well, yeah,
started.
because I go after you. You started, so I go
Oh,
after
did
you.
I start? I guess I started.
Yes, you did
Okay,
start.
never mind. Leave me
Who
alone.
can't count now, Dylan?
Leave me alone. It's fine, actually.
All right, all right. So my next one, and not my last, my penultimate over/under for this year,
Thank you.
um, is going to be adapted from last year, where I was way off with Matty Benier's cap hit
Mhm.
because it was a different kind of deal than we were thinking. And this one could be the same. But I have, of course, with the Kraken still needing to sign one of their RFAs, Riker Evans.
Yep.
Riker Evans' next cap hit, over or under 2.9111 repeating
Mhm.
million dollars.
Okay, so do I think they go the bridge deal option that AFP Analytics has put out, or do I think they go long term?
So the projection, according to AFP Analytics, and I believe Evolving Hockey is pretty similar, is like 2.8 something.
Yeah, it's 2.88875. Yeah. Um, I don't know. The fact that Jason Bottrell keeps mentioning Riker Evans's name every time he talks about the young core of this team they're going to build around, which
Well, they're going to sign him.
has been, I know, but like it's been, I don't know that I would include him in that, right? Like with Matty Beniers, Shane Wright, and Berkeley Catton, I don't know that I would include Riker Evans in that. But the
If you
general
had to list
manager
the
of the
number
team
name, if
keeps doing
you're
it.
a GM that needs to throw out a certain number of names to make people more optimistic about the team, who else are you? I guess there are other guys, but
It very much comes across as I have to mention a defenseman, and so I just throw in
yeah,
Riker Evans's name. Because I think if you just said Shane, Catton, and Maddie, like that's enough.
yeah. But yeah, it's true. If
It
you feel the
seems
need
extra to
mention
sprinkle a
defenseman,
Riker Evans on top of
and if
that.
you throw it like yeah, Shane, Cat, and Maddie, and Ty Nelson, you're gonna turn some heads.
Exactly. So, oh, this is tough also because like I just don't have a feel for like what Bottrell really likes to do. We just saw the bridge deal from Capo Caco. That made a lot of sense though. Does it make as much sense to do it with Riker? I'm gonna take the over.
Okay, going with the over. Interesting. So thinking at least betting on the chance of a longer term deal
Yeah, I think it could be like a 4-year deal at like
or a
3
slight
2
overpay
yeah,
on a bridge.
yeah, like it could be like a 4-year deal at like 325.
Okay. So yeah, I
Right,
think
or a
if it's
3-year deal at 325, like I
then
could see
it could
that.
be over. Yeah, I do think if it is going to be the projected 2-year term on like a short bridge deal, I don't think they're coming in over 2.91.
I agree with that, but I think they'll probably do more than 2 years.
All right. What's your last one?
All right, so my last one. So I originally had this, and then I had like a little RJ pop up on my shoulder and tell me this is too insane. So my original
Okay.
one was Brandon Montour, percentile rank in the NHL for speed bursts over 20 miles per hour. And I'd set that line at 96.5, by the way. He's been at the 99th percentile twice in the last 4 years. But I was like, that's too RJ's going to be like, that's too ridiculous.
Dylan,
And
I'm
this
the
is
one who has to
before
write these out on the Google
I was
form.
gonna say, yes, nobody's gonna understand this. So instead, I've simplified it just to Brandon Montour top speed. So just what is the
Okay.
fastest Brandon Montour travels in a game this season? And I have that at 23.05. Now last year he was at 23.52, which again, a huge jump from where he was at previously on NHL Edge. Is that a matter of player tracking, or is it just that he's not in Florida where it's humid and the ice is a little slower? It's very possible it's just that. So last year he was at 23.52. Year before that, 22.6. So literally almost an entire mile per hour faster last season from the year prior. 22.59 the year before that, and then 23.08 as far as this goes out. So 23.05 miles per hour, fastest speed burst for Brandon Montour this season.
Do you have it up on NHL Edge right now?
I can very quickly.
Because I'm wondering, do you know when that happened?
Yeah,
Because it'll say
it
when.
does say when it happened, and it happened in Colorado. I can give you a date in just a second, but I do
Or maybe there's
remember that
something to
it
the
was in
atmosphere that
Oh
they
yeah, there's just less air resistance, and so he gets more
yeah.
games in Colorado now, and he'll be faster. I don't know.
My gut says to take the over here. My brain says to take the under because like consistently he's been the under. Like last year seemed to become an anomaly, whatever happened in Colorado. My gut says take the over because I feel like he's gonna have to just cover for someone at some point and go all out.
And he just books it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I could see it just feels like in Seattle he kind of has to do more.
hmm
And that's gonna cause him to go faster at times.
I like that thinking. I would probably take the over on this one too.
Would you really?
I move this number around a lot, and I do feel like it's maybe a little low. He hit the 23.52 last year on November 5th at Colorado at 11:07 of period 3.
Okay. All right.
And that, by the way,
I,
ranked in the 96th percentile for top speed amongst um, all players last year in the NHL.
I'm taking the over. I'm gonna have some fun.
Okay. He
And
look,
I'll try and look for it too during the season if we can remember. If we just see Brandon Montour traveling really fast at some point,
yes, we gotta
we
go
can
and
go
look
and
it
look
up.
up to see if I hit.
I will say he had 140 speed bursts over 20 miles per hour last season. Again, that is in the 99th percentile. League average is just under 30 and he had 140, so the dude does fly out there for sure. But yeah, that's where it's at. So again, the over under for that one is 23.05.
Okay. Well, that's a fun one. All right. So time for my last one. And I thought about Chandler Stevenson points, just running that back, but I thought no, I should make it more complicated, kind of like how you did. So over or under 12 and a half Chandler Stevenson points versus playoff teams.
Versus playoff teams, let's go.
So I will let you know last season. We went over this together like before
It's
recording
like
one of these days.
3 or something from last season.
Well, last season he did have 12.
Okay.
He had 12 points in 39 games last season against playoff teams. So not the best scoring rate. He did most of his scoring as Dom Lucian mentioned in his article on the worst contract, called him an empty calorie scorer. I think
Yep.
that's a great turn of phrase. So he didn't do very well against playoff teams. But he got pretty lucky point scoring wise overall last season, it seems. So there's a couple ways you could look at it, right? You could say that, well, he should do better given how poorly he did against playoff teams last year, but also that maybe he's due to score a little bit less this year. What do you think?
I would love to know what he
Okay.
did the season prior. So I'm looking at that real quick to see if there's like an
I don't know if I
easy.
could tabulate that
I was
fast
gonna
enough.
say if there's an easy split on it. Oh, there isn't on Hockey Reference. Just looking at the
No.
season splits, that's a bummer. I mean, I could like kind of loosely look at like just the teams he scored the most on. Look, let's see, it was Anaheim, Columbus, Minnesota, Nashville, Seattle. This is okay. So he does still do better against bad teams, even in Vegas. I mean, that makes sense. Everybody probably does better against bad teams. But it was more spread out the year prior. He was in Vegas. 12 and a half. I
Because it doesn't feel like a big number, right? Over
Yeah.
8, well, I mean, it's not gonna be 82 games against playoff teams. I mean, they had 39, and we'll see, how many they end up playing this year, but it's maybe because
I'm
it's
gonna
half the
take.
league, so it's gonna be roughly half the
It's gonna
schedule.
be roughly half the schedule. I'll take the over.
Okay.
I think 12 was too low last year. I think that was, again, first year in a place like, because I do think he's going to have somewhere between 50 and 55 points again. Like, that's just
Hmm.
basically who he is as a player. And I think that, yeah, there's no reason that 13 to 15 of those points can't be against half of the teams in the league.
Okay. We'll see if he's able to repeat it. After this, I'll go look up and see what he did in Vegas. I'm sure the numbers are a little better just because
They were a little
they were
bit better
playing
in Vegas. I looked at the last 2 years, and like, there was years where the top team he scored against was Winnipeg. Like, go figure.
Yeah.
But he had better teammates around him. We'll say that.
Yeah. All right. I think he did get also a little bit lucky that that Montreal made the playoffs this year for tabulating the stats purposes.
Oh, that's
6 points
true.
and 6 points in 2 games against
Oh, don't tell me
Montreal.
that after I've committed.
You took the over.
I did take the over.
And yeah, you've taken what?
I took way
7
too
overs
many
out of
overs.
10.
Yeah, I took way too many overs. I am feeling way too optimistic this year. Or you were too pessimistic with your lines. That's what I'll go with.
There you go.
I can't be
All
the
right.
problem. You're the problem.
Gotta take that clip just to
Yeah,
reuse in different
exactly.
places.
Everybody. That'll be the notification sound on your phone. All right. So those are pretty good though. I feel good about this. I feel like these were, we both did a lot of fun ones in here.
Yeah, I think so too. I will admit yours were more fun this year than they were last year. So good job, Dylan. I think this is a fun one, and it's gonna be really fun to see how everyone does and what the votes are. Like I always
Yeah.
enjoy in the coming week or two just looking and seeing where people land on the over under and what the community thinks as far as what's going to happen. So remember that, everybody. You can play along too. You should play along too, and fill out that Google form, and we'll check in again next year, see how everyone did. You too can hear your name read out on the Deep Dive podcast if you win the contest next year, or if you just put all unders, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if it goes better this year, if you put all overs. I want to see one of you just go all unders or all overs, just so it's been done.
That would be fun. Somebody sacrifice your Google account to that cause.
Well, that's a little extreme,
Well,
but
that's
yes.
what it is. Like, right? Like,
Yep.
yeah. So no, we'll see. I love doing this every year. This is like arguably my favorite episode of the pod every season. So looking forward to it. Looking
Because you
forward.
always win.
Well, there's that component. That's not even why. This is what I enjoy in life. You know that. Looking at this stuff and trying to think about everything as though it's a big gamble. So that's what I enjoy. But yes, I'm really looking forward to the upcoming weeks here in August with all of the Way Too Early podcasts. Can't wait to get into those with you, RJ. And as I said at the beginning, it is never way too early to call the offices of Rico Tessendor if you've been involved in an accident. You can reach out to Rico at 425-778-9800 or visit his website, ricotessendor.com, to schedule a free consultation. Just go in, talk to him, see what your options are. It's always good to have options when you've been involved in something as significant as an accident. So definitely go and reach out to Rico. He's won millions of dollars for his clients and helped thousands of people in the greater Seattle area. And as a fellow member of the ECH community, we know he'll help you too. And then also definitely looking forward to seeing how many of you join us on Thursday over at patreon.com/Emerald City Hockey to rewatch Game 1 in Seattle Kraken franchise history in Vegas. You and I were there. It's going to be interesting seeing things from like a broadcast view, because
I don't think I've ever watched the broadcast.
I think I've maybe watched like the highlight of the Chandler Stevenson. Was it a goal? It was a goal to the people that matter. And so it'll be really interesting watching that back, and yeah, seeing some of the names and everything. I think that's going to be a lot of fun with everybody on Thursday, as well as the rest of the month there on Patreon. And then I hope everybody enjoys the draft video as well, releasing later today. So thanks so much for listening to the podcast, everybody, and we'll see you all next time.
Hey everyone, before we go, we just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/Emerald City Hockey, especially our Terror of the Deep patrons.
Thank you so much for making all this possible. We really appreciate your support.